And the second email today comes to us from Zach Stewart, who writes, I know Joaquin Phoenix turned down Doctor Strange because he doesn't want to do franchise movies. But if people respond well to Phoenix's portrayal of the Joker, what are the chances of him returning to the role in future movies? Thanks. Okay, so we're all stoked about this Joker movie. I think even a lot of people who were it rubbed them the wrong way. They were against the idea of this standalone Joker movie. I think even a lot of those people are coming on board with it now. The cast is incredible. Hearing what Joaquin Phoenix has been saying about the role, getting a good look at him as this character. It looks great as Arthur. It looks wonderful, right? So the question now comes, if the audiences receive him well as Joker, what are the chances he comes back to do a sequel? Well, I think there's a couple things to keep in mind here. Number one, everybody's just assuming, and safely so, that the audience are going to respond well to Joaquin. When does the audience not respond well to a Joaquin Phoenix performance? No, seriously. When's the last time that Joaquin Phoenix starred in a film and people went, that Joaquin Phoenix guy wasn't all that good? Like, seriously, when's the last time that happened? The answer, never, right? You can go all the way back to when he played Commodus in Gladiator, and ever since, every time he's in a role, people love him in the role. So I think the studios are just assuming that people are going to love Joaquin Phoenix in the role. Let's just assume that for a second. So could people liking it increase the chances of him coming back to do it again? I totally believe the answer to that is absolutely not. I really don't think so. And let's go back to an interview that Joaquin Phoenix did back in 2015 when ultimately he had turned down Doctor Strange. And he's kind of asked why he turned down that film and other kind of big blockbuster sorts of films. This is what Joaquin Phoenix said, and I think it gives us some insight into today. When I was younger, I was probably a bit of a snob about taking on blockbuster roles, but they've gotten better. I flirted with several of those films, having meetings and getting close, but ultimately it never felt like they'd really be fulfilling. This is the key part here. There were too many requirements that went against my instincts for character. I've been spoiled. I've never had to make those compromises. Now, of course, in previous interviews and in interviews following, when he talks about there are too many requirements, one of those big requirements we now know that Joaquin Phoenix was really against was the request that studios have that for him to come on one of these movies, that he sign a multi-film deal. We knew that became a big breaking point in his negotiations to play Doctor Strange. He did not want to sign a multi-film deal. He doesn't believe in playing characters multiple times. He doesn't believe that serves the character and all that kind of stuff, right? Unless he has had a massive change of philosophy, which I don't see any reason to believe he has, but it's possible. But unless he has had one of those massive changes of philosophy, I would be extremely surprised if we found out that there was a multi-film deal here. I simply don't think Joaquin Phoenix would have signed on for this had Warner Brothers required a multi-film commitment. That just doesn't seem to be what Joaquin Phoenix wants to do. But then we ask, but what if the audience really likes him? The audience always really likes him. That's not a variable in this equation, right? It's not a variable. The audience is going to like him because that's just what we always do when Joaquin Phoenix is in a movie. We always like him. So that's not a variable here. They were making this movie knowing the audience is going to like him as Joker. That doesn't mean the movie's going to be great, but the chances are we're going to like Joaquin Phoenix in the role, even if we don't like the movie, who knows? But it doesn't change the fact that Joaquin Phoenix just doesn't seem, when we take his past words and his current kind of patterns that he has, it does not look like he likes going back and doing sequels. He doesn't like to do multi-film things. He doesn't think that serves the character. And that's what he's all about. So, look, I'm going to be with a lot of you guys that if this movie turns out to be good, and Joaquin Phoenix is as great in the role as we're all kind of anticipating he's going to be, I'm going to hope he does another one. I'm going to be right there with you. I'm going to be cheering for it. But I have a very, very hard time believing at this point, and fingers crossed, but I have a very hard time believing at this point that Joaquin Phoenix will come back and do it. And I don't think people liking him in the role would change his mind, because they always like him in his role. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think there could be a legitimate chance that a Joaquin Phoenix could indeed come on board again and play this character again and do his like first sequel sort of, do you think he could do that? Do you think there's a realistic chance that could happen? Jump down to the comments section and let me know what you guys think and why you're thinking it. I'd like to know. All right, let's move on to the third email today.